go. Okay, so now we are live. Hi everyone. Evan and I, or mostly Evan in that case, will talk about the Webpack-Cli, about the next steps, and also about some organization stuff. So I will share the agenda with you, hopefully. Yes. I hope everyone can see now the agenda, so we can start step by step and see. Okay. So maintenance. Maybe you want to then continue, Evan, because like you created the agenda.
Yeah, cool. You could just like add in if you like see if there's anything missing. Like lately, we've been seeing like there's not enough contributors, and we should definitely get more contributors to help the CLI, because that makes the CLI better to maintain, as well as it makes everyone's lives easier, so the burden doesn't fall on each one of us. So hopefully we can sort a way for everyone to make the CLI kind of like, we have to brand the CLI, we have to, as John is doing, Twitter posts and just get a word out there, and hopefully people will join. And also, hopefully someone within Webpack will join with some minor contributions. But yeah, I think that's it really. We need more people, and we need to like make sure people gets the word. And it's really fun to work with the CLI. So just we have to get to a point where people are like, okay, yeah, this is easy to contribute to. So they just get started. We have some good first issues as well that we can like publish on Twitter, maybe on GitHub. We can make those more visible somehow. We can make one point, I think we're coming to that later, is to make contribution guides easier. I think it's pretty straightforward right now, but it might be hard for some, and maybe people aren't like really reading the contribution guide before they start. So that would be a good first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say to that?
Well, I agree. I agree, because as I said, when I started, it was, or it is sometimes still a bit hard. I mean, I was also thinking of maybe like creating some kind of simple 1 or 2 use case guidelines. Like, let's say you want to do X, like you want to fix a bug, or like providing 2 interesting use cases where you can even maybe guide people like, okay, this is where you touch the file X, and then this file and this file, and then you know exactly where to do what. Because I think people like more having, instead of these general use case documentation or like code documentations, maybe like, okay, these are 2 or 3 cases, this is how you would solve it, and then people can go into the code, follow it up, and then hopefully start faster contributing.
Definitely, yeah. And also, like, we have some really good boundaries between like, okay, we're in the bin folder in Webpack. Let's say we're running some Webpack compilation arguments. That's okay. We know exactly where that's supposed to be, because we have separated a lot of logic from, say, the scaffolding, migrating, and all those kind of extra features into one part of the CLI, and the like compilation step of Webpack is still the same. So it's pretty like separated. It's pretty clean, and the scaffolding source code is clean as well. You can easily see like, okay, if you want to run Webpack serve, you see like in the source code, you see a serve command within the lib folder. And if you want to run Webpack migrate, you see exactly the same. So you can just like follow the code. Maybe we can promote that better.
Yeah, I would agree on that.
Yeah, I think we touched
so I guess,
the second point as well.
I would also say like, let's change this more like, and it's part of like the code, like the contributing guidelines, increasing entry to source code. yeah, contributing guidelines. I have to recheck again on that. But I remember that it's quite long. Like maybe we should really, like you said, simplify. So it's also like,
yeah,
maybe we should ask people getting feedback what others think, even like from the Webpack Slack chat channel or something, or I don't know. People who are already in code and asking them like how they like it, or maybe not, or maybe we should simplify or guide people to like one basic markdown and then a couple of other things.
Yeah, because like I think there's a lot of like stuff in the contribution guide maybe that isn't so helpful for beginners to start with, like writing tests. Well, it's pretty important, but when you're starting to contribute, usually it's like, okay, I saw a typo in some console log somewhere. Where do I find that? And maybe we should like separate from, okay, say basic contribution to a more advanced contributions. So we have a like clear distinction there, so people can, yeah, just find out how they contribute easier. Yeah.
So they're all like, this one is also a bit similar, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's just jump to the next topic, which is like discuss with maintainers about how to contribute.
Yeah, I think what I meant there was like, okay, we need more maintainers, but if people don't want to contribute to the code, it's like 100%. It's actually like superb that people want to be like maintaining, answering bug issues, or reviewing PRs. That's really helpful. So just how we can get more maintainers on board. We definitely need more reviewers that should like, okay, instead of Webpack-Cli and Pavitra and Nader, like as kind of just went to their actual jobs. But we were agreeing on we have to get at least two people to review the code, like two reviewers for an accepted PR, and that's good practice, because if the first maintainer or the first reviewer, if the first reviewer kind of misses something, then it would be nice to have a second reviewer that makes sure that everything is proper, everything is okay. So just a false safe for the first reviewer.
Sure, I agree. At least two. It's like best practice, the 4I principle. Yep. So, but yeah, how to contribute is like reviewing PR, supporting issues, bugs, and also like maybe documentation regarding contributing guidelines and something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that covers it pretty well.
Yeah.
Like maintainers, they don't have to write code. They just have to be active, answer issues, point it to someone else that knows what they're doing, put it in the source code perhaps. Just kind of more people to get more active, to get more, what's the word I'm looking for? To get more traction, basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I agree totally on that. I mean, it really depends on how much time people have. And as you see, like some old maintainers, they don't really have some time, but maybe at least for them is like maybe supporting issues or like being like a tech support is already helpful. So others can focus on the code if necessary.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, the next one.
Yeah,
that's a
good one. Yeah, so before version 2, we didn't really have any release tags in versioning because we wanted to keep focus on getting the CLI stable enough to actually have like meaningful release tags in versioning. But right now we have a like kind of working middle way solution, and that is that Emmanuel is writing the releases, which is super awesome. Like I'm praising him right now because from experience, it's a pain in the ass writing the tags and versioning manually. I know there's tools for it, but maybe we can enforce kind of better PR / commit to match the tools, because if you write something like in the commit feed, meaning feature and something, it will show up in the changelog, which is pretty cool. But we haven't really enforced that since Webpack 1, because we didn't really have kind of like what I'm looking for, like the stepping stones, the versioning stepping stones, gradual improvements. So we didn't really focus on that. So I think the Lighthouse team, Google Chrome, is using a CI tool that checks for commit styles, which is pretty nice. We could look up on that.
Yeah. So yeah, like some kind of automated solution, so we can automate these releases. I mean, I think there are a couple of solutions, but yeah, we have someone, or like with the team, maybe someone should research different possibilities, and then we can together decide like, okay, which one makes best sense here, because there are CI solutions, or there are even task runner solutions where you do these kind of stuff. So it really depends what we need. Okay, cool.
I just wanted to mention something else. We should probably follow Webpack. We should start following the Webpack release scheme. Like, okay, we make a next branch, and everything that should go into the next version should go to the next branch. It's consistent, and it's pretty it's pretty good for people that are using Webpack-Cli in the future to know that, okay, nothing is changing until the next branch has been released. While we're having a good roadmap, we have a release scheme for that. So I think that would be a good convention to do.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I never used that approach, but if they're using it and it's working and people are expecting it, I would also expect as a user, like as a developer, like, okay, the Webpack-Cli should have the exact same workflow if possible. So
yeah,
makes sense.
And like, it's like, okay, you merge something to the next branch, it goes to alpha, beta, and then get merged to master, then get published. And there's different like workarounds for this. Like what we started with was some agile development style, where we used just like, we make sure to name our branches like feature, bug fix, everything, and we merged it straight to master, and then we grouped all those PRs together and merged like somewhere in the end of the month. Personally, I don't think that that's the best solution, because if you merge straight to master, it's like, okay.
Yeah, you need something in between. Yeah, it's totally. Yeah.
Which is like, it's just a fail safe, really. Just like, okay, if we're breaking something in master right now, it's like pretty easy to just push minor. So if we push something, if we push a bad commit to the next branch, it's much easier to just like push another change because it hasn't been published yet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if we go this next alpha beta approach, then you will get from people early feedback. Like even if you break something or some changes really start having some bubbling up to new issues which we didn't cover, like think through before, then with this approach, you like give people the ability to say, okay, I will test alpha first, and let's see if it's working. And if there are issues, people can still switch to the main version without fearing that, oh, okay, this version is completely broken and I have to go back to another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, Tobias just mentioned, like, we should have a faster release cycle than Webpack, which makes sense, really. So what we could do is like, okay, we say, okay, at the end of each month, we publish a new version if there's any changes. if there's like if it's urgent, then we publish it as minor or major. I think that would be. I don't know if it would be well, but yeah, let's discuss that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like I'm not opinionated on that. Like I don't have that kind of experience to know which makes most sense. I don't know the other ones maybe, or we just start with something and then we see.
Yeah,
I would say just start.
That was good.
Okay.
Just based on their empirism, or what's the word called in English? Just empirical data.
Yeah.
Just like let's just try and see where it goes.
Yeah.
As long as we have a working solution which is consistent and we follow it, that should be our only concern, really. If it works and it's good. So yeah, I think we can go to the next bullet point.
Cool. So, well, the next one is how we better sync the CLI with DevServer and Webpack itself. So
yeah, this is an important one. Sorry if I just say too much right now. Yeah, because what I've been like observing is that whenever Webpack development server or Webpack itself needs to update, they need to bump dependencies. It would be nice, like say if we release a new version, that we have some kind of automation that automatically like submits a PR to Webpack. It's okay, you get contribution points, but it would be nice just to know that okay, we published a new version and it's getting included in every dependency that relies on Webpack CLI. That would be nice.
If I understand right, it's about like they have a dependency to us.
Yeah.
And they need. Okay.
And I think this is up for discussion as well. Maybe we shouldn't decide on it now, because other people might have other things to say. So just mention it in the general chat or something like that. Would be nice. It's just an observation, and I think that it might be quite exhausting whenever we make a change to make a pull request and say, okay, up to Webpack CLI, instead of Webpack or Webpack development server doing that automatically. Cool.
I hope I understand it like completely. Like it's really like trying to automate updates. If we do updates,
yeah.
that these projects also get the updates via pull requests or somehow. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. In a CI deploy or something like that. That would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, if there are open source projects, for example, there is Greenkeeper.io, which kind of is exactly doing this, but I don't know how. Yeah, I mean,
just mention it. It's nice.
Greenkeeper.io, because even like the developers are part of them are also here in Berlin, and I know one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They are basically, this is like for open source projects, it's free, and it's checking your npm dependencies, and whenever something changes, it just automatically creates a pull request into your repository. Yeah, maybe something.
That. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. So this was the maintenance topic.
Yeah.
Then I would say let's move forward for roadmaps, milestones, and tracking. Nice. So let's have make a plan.
Yeah, that was a draft, but yeah. So yeah, we should have a plan. Okay, that this kind of gets toppled into what we should focus on, milestones to prioritize, and basically we need to to make a plan that, okay, say for next month we're gonna try to do this, and if we don't make it, okay, then it's fine. We just like we continue on that. But we have to make sure that, okay, we have clear goals and what we need to focus on, as well as we need to pick up on issues and decide which ones are worth chasing down, which one we should focus on. So we have some labels on GitHub for that, but we need to make sure that, okay, say if we get, one example is that, okay, say we need to focus more on the initialization feature on Webpack-Cli, opposed to something like, okay, TypeScript support. And that would be kind of just like juggling balls. And then we can argue like, okay, we have good configuration defaults right now in Webpack. So, okay, let's focus on TypeScript and just take it in backlog. So just we need to make sure that we have a good focus and a clear goal. Yeah.
Yeah. Just okay. Yeah, I mean, there are different possibilities how to do that. I already have some kind of like how to structure a solution in mind. Like we could use GitHub projects, but in a way that we even have some kind of like a rule saying that, which is based on like a Scrum pattern. Like if you use, for example, Scrum and you have a sprint and then you have a backlog, the most important thing will be on the first. So it will be on top. So these kind of prioritizations could be something like, okay, we have a GitHub project where you have basic Kanban board, and then we can have milestones, combine this together. Could be an option, could be a solution, because then it's also accessible by everyone. And yeah, milestones plus. And the roadmap milestones is, I think, something a broader community, like more people should discuss, even like regarding what Webpack is doing and how we might align with them, because they have their priority list, and then the CLI, maybe they have dependencies to us. So this might be something where we need to talk to the general, to a bigger group and get their feedback, and then we can maybe align with them together on some kind of roadmap milestones, because I think it might be even easier.
Yeah, we could follow Webpack convention. They have a nice labeling system, and we already have a GitHub bot. Like shout out to Tobias for figuring that out, and Emmanuel for helping making a pull request for that. And yeah, I think that perhaps we should discuss it, like ask for feedback from other people, but like the milestones, the roadmaps, and the tracking, we could like what was I supposed to say? We could decide that on our own, because it's not hard to figure out internally what makes sense for the group.
Yeah. I mean, it's more maybe like to get some initial feedback from people or developers or just whoever uses Webpack-Cli. I'm sure everyone has some opinion, and then getting them together, merging them into something not everyone is happy with, but at least we are happy with, and we can commit for like the next weeks, months, and then people can catch up easily on tasks. Because I think that's also one interesting thing for getting contributors is, if for them it's easy to catch up on the way we work, like the workflow, and it's everything open and not like, I don't know, like behind some task management system on a proprietary company solution, then it will be easier for everyone to like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand this. I can pick this bug or this feature, and I can work on it. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that like if we do GitHub projects or the to-do board, or what's the GitHub project, I think its name. If we do that, it's pretty, like, people don't really know where to start. And from experience, we have been trying that in the start of Webpack-Cli, and it didn't work exactly as planned. Like, okay, you worked on the PR, you're done, and you forgot to update the board, and people didn't like drag issues into the board to do, and it's pretty hard for contributors to follow that.
Yeah, that's why I have this question mark, because just using labels, some milestones might be even enough, because GitHub project is not yet, I would say, in a state where it's perfectly connected, so you can't just do your things. Okay. Then, I mean, yeah, this is something I think we need to talk also in the chat, maybe for the next meeting, or at the end we can think about who wants to do what for the next week, until next week maybe. Before that, let's focus on, okay, what should we focus on at the PM on the CLI?
Yeah.
Which was,
so Daniela was the proposed team leader in the start of Webpack-Cli. She made a good job. She made sure maintenance went well. She initialized the project, set up some initial, I think it was EastLink configurations and all that. But we haven't heard from her yet, in a long time. So what I propose is Ferret should be the new PM, or at least guiding the team. And just continue.
Yeah, I can do that role. It's I can, if no one else currently is picking up, or no one is really super interested. I don't know, Emanuele, if he is also interested in this role. But for me, it would be also a good starting point, because as I said, code contributions will be fluctuating between, sometimes I do and sometimes I just can't because of day-to-day work and other stuff. But doing everything around is something I can do pretty well, I think. And then we can just start creating a process, onboarding people. And I'm sure once we have more contributors, maybe this kind of roles, the mature a project is, they just disappear in some form.
Yeah, that's right. And as well as, it's not really a project manager role, but it's kind of just making sure that on a higher level, everything is sorted out. Okay, you need to chat to someone to make sure that the pull requests get merged or something like that. Normally, from experience, you do that on your own, but it would be nice with them, say a post leader would make sure to arrange meetings, say something okay, we need to plan this, we need to perhaps adjust this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
some kind of a mix of Scrum Master, producer role. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's that kind. I mean, that's the role, and it's easier to name this, and then it's maybe also easier for others who watch later to understand what kind of role this is. It's more keeping everything working and going smoothly forward. Yeah.
The only time I've heard, the only time I've heard Scrum was when I was watching Silicon Valley.
Sorry about that. I mean, it's one of a lot of ways to work.
Yeah, I heard of it.
Yeah.
Pick it up from there. So yeah, just a suggestion was Ferret. And let's just discuss this in the Slack, what people think, if they're positive to having someone that arranges meetings and makes sure that bugs are followed up. I think the GitHub bot removes some issues if they have been inactive for some time. So it would be nice just to say, okay, to ask the people that have been submitting given issues, okay, did you fix this? Can we do something to help? Or something like that. That would be nice. Just someone who follows up and makes sure that everything is synchronized. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. After this meeting, we can just share with the CLI Slack group and then see how many feedback we get, or even with the general chat. Okay.
I wouldn't propose. You should probably revise that. We're not replacing her. She left.
Yeah, sorry.
So just say like suggest PM for Webpack-Cli, because we haven't had any. We just have had some sort of leader and former.
Yeah, I mean, I keep it that way, that we don't say we are replacing her maybe.
Yeah, we're not replacing anyone. We're suggesting we're suggesting a leader. We haven't had any, so just say PM or something like that. This is a new role.
Yeah, call it something like this. Oh, yeah, organizer. I don't know. There are so many.
Organizer is a nice word for that.
Yeah. So let's keep it that. Maybe a leader is already a bit too. It's a bit different. Yeah. Okay.
So let's go to the blog post bullet point.
Yes.
So what we did in the start was that Sean and Webpack team allowed us to write on the Webpack channel on Medium, which is great, and I think we should focus on writing some posts there. Like, say, if we write a CLI post on how to utilize your workflow with npm or something like that with the Webpack flags. And now this zero configuration JS has been started, so we can probably say something like in a new blog post, okay, we have introduced zero config JS. Here's how you write your own configuration, which does the same thing or something like that. Just tooltips, just like gradually building up knowledge for people using the Webpack CLI and Webpack itself, like Sean has been doing. And yeah, probably we should make a clear separation between good blog posts and bad blog posts, because okay, if we write a blog post about contributing to the Webpack CLI, there's a distinction between, okay, should this go in the Webpack Medium organization, or should someone write this personally? So this is probably something that we should just take up after we've written the blog post. But the general suggestion is that we write blog posts, we what's the word, monetize the CLI to increase more contributors.
Yeah.
Yeah, more momentum was probably a better phrasing of that. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I mean, regarding blog post quality, that's really something you only get with experience. Like if you check how Sean already blogs or what he's doing, he knows what the audience wants and he exactly delivers on that. But I mean, for that, I would say anyone can write a blog post, but then it would be more like having some kind of peer reviewing, not even peer, it would be like a couple of people. Like I know from others, like if you look how more professional people who are blogging and are doing it, they have like 4, 5, 6 people reviewing their blog posts and giving feedback. So this is something we should have. Like whenever someone of us is creating a blog post, we should definitely share it with the CLI channel and then get feedback as much as possible. Yeah,
and the general chat as well.
But
what I was trying to propose was that, okay, say if we write a post about making a Webpack file, which is pretty nice. Everything is included. Just some blog posts about Webpack, and we bridge that to Webpack CLI. If it has a connection to Webpack CLI, which then we can use to learn people how to use Webpack CLI in a good sense.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. think.
Hi, hi guys. I have
Hi.
one more point here. Like, can we add some strategy for this? Like, first few posts, like a serious kind of thing. First few posts, we focus more on this area, and then we go forward, such that it makes much easier for people to understand Webpack-Cli and get started things. So we'll get started with getting started with Webpack-Cli, and then have something added to that kind of strategy part for initial some days, and then probably we can add a lot of blog posts that we can add in anything we want under the roof. But probably for the first few times, can we add some strategy for that?
Yeah, that would be nice, actually. That was a real nice idea, like making a series getting started with Webpack-Cli and kind of building up the knowledge level. If that was, if I interpreted it right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm also doing a stream with Sean. We were supposed to do that yesterday, but he was in a meeting. But me and Sean is going to go through Webpack-Cli and stream it and publish it, so people can look at the source code, look at the stream, and know what the source code is doing. So that's one thing.
Can I make already a note? Like share it now? I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and this is the first step towards hopefully bridging more contributors to Webpack-Cli. This, as well as the series of blog posts that was just proposed, that would be nice to get people to get started with Webpack-Cli.
Okay. I think this is something really great. People will like a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also new. Like, it's still unsure in the community. I see some other people, even Sean, doing sometimes these kind of live coding sessions.
That's nice, but it's not a streaming series. It's one stream. Go through the Webpack-Cli. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Then let's put this. I will maybe change this a bit later to have some kind of like immediate strategy, or like, I don't know, because of stream, or maybe in future also streams, and then blog posts and all the stuff, and blog series. This could be like its own topic. Cool.
I think Sean is taking over the promotion stuff here. And hi Sean.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Nice. How about you?
I'm doing good. I missed what you said there for a second, but you were talking about the last item there, or just specific? Oh, sorry, that's my son in the background singing.
That's fine.
When I think about it, I'll ask again.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just mentioning the previous item. Should we move on?
Yes. So the next topic is here: JS docs for migrate. Any takers?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Joseph's in that. Oh, okay.
Right.
So it's more about cleaning up JS docs and okay.
Yeah, we're missing JS docs for migrate. There was some errors while I was trying to fix that. But there's actually someone who, the day after I wrote this, said something like, commented on GitHub. Okay, I'll do it, which is great. So yeah, we can actually remove that because somebody's working on that.
Oh, okay, cool. So could be that someone is already working on it. So I'm just putting a note like someone will work on it, but I will check later on this. Like, what's current? Do you have like? Is it somewhere like on GitHub in the issues list?
Yeah, I think there's it's marked.
Okay, I will check later on that.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, instead of having a separate Medium channel, do you want to have like a subsection similar to what we do with like the freelance logbook and everything else?
Yeah, that would be nice.
basically have your own column essentially, but it would still aggregate up to like the Webpack medium.
That would be really nice. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make that section. I'll add a to-do item for that. If you wanted to add it on there, definitely do so as well, and that can keep me accountable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Nice. Thanks, Sean.
Cool.
So
Thank you.
yeah, just note that.
Okay. Then I will follow up on the JS docs topic, and then we just
nice. Make sure to make Sean accountable for creating a medium subsection.
Yeah, it's here. It's here.
Nice.
Sean will create one. So it's also on the broadcast, so it's done. Everyone will see it later. Cool. So then we have more maintenance to answer general questions like, should I open this? Or maybe you can just shortly
It's not important. It's not important to open it. Yeah.
No, it's more like maybe it's so.
Yeah, it's an example. This is a Stack Overflow type question, but we don't need to be douchebags and say, okay, just post this on Stack Overflow, because it's a legit question that people might find useful. So these kind of questions should be answered. And this might be a bug on our side as well. And we need to test this and just do the maintaining part. So we need more people to answer these kind of questions.
Okay. Sure. Maybe. What was it about maintainers? I would like to put this like here. Does it make sense here? Because if we discuss about maintainers and contributors, it would be nice to have it like not having writing code, but answering these kind of general questions. Is a good example there.
Yeah, nice.
Cool. I will just move it here because it's better there. Create an own label for those. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But that's basically the question label. But
yeah,
it would be nice with something like a label that said which the bot would add. I don't know if that's possible, but something like, okay, maintain trivial question or something like that. That would be nice. Just a label saying that this is a question that you can answer without knowing the code.
I'm currently thinking about all these labels. Help wanted, first time contributions, besides question. No, that's already
some kind of question syntax. Say the question colon non-code related or something like that. We can discuss that later in the CLI Slack. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. That was the roadmap, milestones, like the general topic. So if we are all fine, then I will move now to the code-related topic, so we can talk about this. Okay, cool. Well, TypeScript. I mean, you started already something, and you said something.
We actually started. We started with Flow, which is it's a nice step in the right direction. Documenting the types, knowing exactly where things should go in, and types and everything like that. But Andrew from the development server team said that we can't support Babel in the CLI, which is kind of shady because we used a lot of Babel for say demonstrational purposes. Like we used Babel code frame for outputting something like tipping off manual migration stuff, as well as some tests were running on Babel. So I had to refactor that, but it went fine. But the point is that we need the type checker. And if we can't use Flow, which depends on Babel, we could use TypeScript because TypeScript depends on TypeScript.
TypeScript does release like breaking changes though, like every semver major or like every semver minor. So that's the only thing you want to be prepared for. So like they don't do real semver, they just ship breaking changes every time. So if that's okay with you with the type system, then for sure ship it.
Yeah.
I had a question on the inability to use Babel. Is it not possible to use a bundled dependency on Babel so it isn't affected by the outside?
Yeah, perhaps what I was getting from Andrew was that they had dependency problem that node modules weren't. I guess you know the issue, and someone, I think it was you, that proposed that we could use something like some other Babel stuff that made sure that that it like resolving on node modules and everything got fixed. So yeah, there's multiple solutions to that. I don't know if I answered your question.
Is this the whole having Babel in the CLI makes it like chunky for our dependencies and everything?
Yeah, it makes.
Is that like, I mean, I'm fine with using the tool because it's maintained and it's high quality, but like it just has a lot of stuff that it ships with. Or, you know, like people see, I guess a good example is like the JS code shift warnings that they're showing. You know, like that's something we can't control because it comes from them. But I mean, overall, like, I think for me, in context of, there was a GitHub issue I responded to yesterday on the CLI that was like, they were questioning whether or not that like some of the base commands or functionality that we provide should have to be installed or should need Babel, etc. So I don't know, maybe it's worth segregating them.
Yeah, and I think it's good for the bundle size / project size that we aren't using Babel if we're not needing it, but it made the code look cleaner. But we can achieve the same thing in TypeScript, I think. So yeah. But yeah, Bradley, did I answer your question?
Yes, I'm still thinking adding TypeScript as a dependency is also a large dependency. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. But I think we shipped Babel as a regular dependency, and what I was thinking we could do was saying, okay, let's do TypeScript obviously as a dev dependency, and compile it to regular JavaScript like we used with the flow style publishing. So we say something like on npm prepare, we just say compile TypeScript. But I guess this comes down to one, bundle size, and two, if the dev server issue with using Babel is really worth it with respect to the bundle size using TypeScript. If that makes sense. Anybody?
Well,
I'm interested in hearing what Bradley has to say about this.
yeah.
I mean, I am fairly neutral. I think if you want to port stuff to TypeScript, I have like written up stuff where TypeScript's module system is its own special snowflake. So I'm neutral, but you may have to do some refactoring. So that's it.
Yeah. Actually, I had to remove everything that was related to Flow in 2 hours when Andrew told me that Babel wasn't working. So I think we have done some nice refactoring work at least 2 to 3 times before. So yeah, just go for another one, I'd say.
If I could chime in here for a second.
Yeah.
So my only concern with using a type system in a project where the goal is to try and get a lot of community adoption is you're inevitably going to alienate people that are used to one particular type system versus the other. So you got your flow proponents that aren't going to contribute to TypeScript and vice versa. Whereas you may want to consider, like, if you just left it in plain JS, like, you definitely increase the contributor pool substantially.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I didn't actually think about that. That was really nice. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, that's a tough one because we want to write good code, which is maintainable, but we also want maintainers. And I think it's more important for including maintainers when we write plain JS code composed to TypeScript or Flow. Yeah.
So the general rule of thumb that I've been trying to follow on my projects is for things that are meant for like strong community interaction or like external tools, I try to write those in plain JS. And for things like services or app level projects, like those can be typed, because they're meant for the ease of use of the writer and not so much for the contributor.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah. I'm interested in hearing what you other guys say about this, because yeah, this was a nice point. Yeah. Anyone? Sean, Ferret, Bradley.
I'm neutral.
I would say I would always vie for the JS only option, and then if you wanted to, well, I guess for CLI you don't really need speed, and it's not that important. Like for us with Webpack Core, we're trying to go for something that resembles normal JavaScript that retains the ability for people to not have barriers to contribution, but have a type system that provides static analysis to compile something really fast, like to WebAssembly. So Walt or something similar that looks like JavaScript and tastes like JavaScript. Overall, I would say even if it, I mean, or where, but ironically, you do gain a subset of contributors who want to help out. Like there's a gentleman named Harrington Darkholme who is huge in the TypeScript community, who does he just loves open source. And I think it took me like one message to ask if he wanted to add typings for Tappable, our plugin system, and he spent a day on it and did it. So it's like there's trade-offs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I use TypeScript in a couple of other projects, and I would agree with all the different points from Bradley and Eli that using TypeScript creates its own interesting challenges, especially once you have a lot of types. And if they are like deeply in your code, sometimes the type checking system is not perfect. So you will end up sometimes having some weird hacks, which happens. And I like this feedback about creating some initial technical hurdle for people who want to contribute. So plain JS makes more sense here.
What I've seen from the Lighthouse team, the Google Chrome project, is that they started writing TypeScript with one monorepo. So say they did the CLI, which was pretty basic at that point. They did that in TypeScript, and they did the core logic in JS. So people could contribute with the core logic in plain JS. And I think this could make sense for larger code bases, but for Webpack CLI, in this case, just the bin folder wouldn't make real much sense, because we would add a dependency that would be used for one source file, and that's it. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think about that, but Yeah.
I would think.
Let's.
I would say put a GitHub issue. I can surface it to Twitter. I mean, really give 2 cents as well, and we can say the reason why. And now we really want to just like kind of state what we're trying to accomplish and why we think it's a good idea. And that way, like ultimately, we let them pick like, and boom.
Thanks, Sean. Went rogue. So yeah, let's just wait until. Sorry.
Yeah, I tried to catch what he said. Like, as far as I understand, is like
Can you hear
creating.
me now? Sorry, my connection really because I'm right near my building and it's trying to jump on my Wi-Fi. No, I was gonna say just put it. I mean, it sounds like there's like at least enough discussion to warrant it in like a GitHub issue. So why don't we just put it in a GitHub issue and then I can surface it to Twitter and we can see if people want to have feedback on it. Because ultimately, in the end, we the point is that we want more contributors, but we also want safe code that's maintainable and easy to develop. And so, like, if that's what the community thinks and it would be beneficial, then we should do it. I mean, we use it extensively here at Microsoft, but I also know all the pitfalls that come with it. I guess we want to put the community in the driver's seat for stuff like this.
Yeah. What like I'd want from this perspective of the scaffold, like the AST part is a good source code, and I think that it's really cluttered right now. It's not really cluttery, but it's beginning to look like the complexity of it begins to worsen out when we add new features. And what I was thinking about was like, okay, we have a lot of recursion with the AST part, because basically what we're doing with the AST is we get a Webpack object, kind of an isomorphic Webpack file, and we compile that to an AST, and then write the configuration. And what I really want to do is to make one good scaffold function that makes use of recursion and checks the types of the incoming objects, checks its sub-properties until it creates like an AST node, an AST node, and an AST node, just like Babel, kind of like a mini version of that, or interpreter, or what you would call that. And I think that the fundamental part of that is a good type system, or at least good documentation along with that, because I think that source code would look fairly like obscure for some, and for some others it would make sense. So to make sure people understand that part of the code would be nice. If you understood that. I'm really bad at elaborating, but hopefully you got something of that.
Well, I would say on this topic, because I mean there are a couple of other things. Let's create the issue, create like what do we want to achieve, the pros, cons for each approach, and then Sean hopefully can share it on Twitter and on other platforms, and then we will get some feedback and see what others think. Because I'm sure people have a lot of opinion on TypeScript and plain JS and all these topics.
Yep, totally.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. I think we move on.
Yeah. I mean, regarding the GitHub issue, I would say, I don't know, like maybe you will create it and start, because I'm just trying to point some names so we know who wants to do what. Okay, AST logic.
Yeah, this is what I just mentioned. So there's a good possibility that we can remove a lot of code from the AST part. Like right now, I think we're at 14K milliseconds, and sorry, we just implemented BS file cache. So we're around like 7.9k milliseconds, and we can shorten that down to say 3 or 4, at least in that area, to 3, 4, 5k milliseconds if we do things right. Because what we're doing is we're getting each property, like entry, output, context, dev server, everything, and we have each folder for that, and we have a higher order component or higher order function, which sends down like, okay, I want to add the context property, and what we're just doing then is to say, just to add the string literal to the function call, which says something like, okay, context, which happens to a lot of the same, which is the same logic for a lot of the same code. So we can generalize that, and what I want to emphasize is that we can make like this one big file that makes recursion calls until it creates all the leaf nodes and the entire Webpack config. It's not a problem, and it shouldn't be fairly complex, but the code might be hard to understand because we need to check, like, okay, do the value have a string literal? Is it a regex? Is it a Boolean value, and all this kind of stuff? So yeah, I think the point is we have the possibility to generalize the AST scaffolding part, which is kind of good. Yeah.
Sounds like this is somehow also related to separating CLI interface and like it sounds like a bigger refactoring task. So maybe.
Yeah, I started this Christmas with that, and I just realized that it's a lot of work, obviously. And what I meant with the third bullet point is that we are going to separate the scaffolding from Webpack-Cli and move it to Webpack add-ons, so people can use the transforms outside the CLI environment. Yeah.
Okay. This one, I think this is like, do you have anything more on that? I mean, I think we already discussed the bubble thing and with the TypeScript situation. So
I think I'm going to ask Andrew and see if we can figure something out and just test each possibility against each other.
Okay, cool. Migrate bugs needs priority. Oh, okay.
Yeah, could you just assign me to the bullet point above so I don't forget that?
Sure.
Cool.
Merge logic. Okay, so the next one then is like merge logic from init with migrate. We should be able to remove some boilerplate code.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Not the migrate bugs. The bubble situation. The migrate bugs.
Sorry.
Like what I was hoping was that Andre or Pavitra would try to work on that. I think Andre proposed it or said that he could chime in for some time last week. But I think this ultimately we just need to fix this, because if I were a user of Migrate and the migration of the Commons Jug plugin or something like the minimize property was buggy, I would like literally pull my hair off. So yeah, we need to fix that. Yeah, and let's do the next one. Yeah, we're soon done. Yeah, so I can mention this. Like, there's a lot of similarities in the code, and the migration logic is really clean. The init logic is somewhat clean, but migrate uses a lot of the JS CodeShift API. So we could like generalize everything and merge the documentation or the API together. Like init and migrate could be merged together. The API for it, like it is now, but with less specific functions, we could shorten that down, I think. So yeah, Farid?
I was just muted. I didn't realize. And for this one there is also a GitHub issue, right? So that someone can work on it. Okay.
I think so. If not, then just create one or assign someone to do that.
Let's put me here. Maybe I can do something I can check also from a code side.
Okay, cool.
Get into the code again. Okay, then
this is
the last one.
Yeah. Like when I think in the start of the summer last year, the Webpack.js organization site posted like somebody was working on the PWA documentation, and I commented on that issue that we need someone to write an PWA add-on. But I think that those people forgot about it or didn't do it, because I haven't heard back from them. I got them started and all that, but we should reach out to the community and ask to create a PWA add-on, because the init feature has a good scaffolding ability, and we need to get that ball out and rolling so people actually use that, because it's a really strong feature. And yeah, like companies can write an add-on that works specifically on their kind of projects, and I think that's a good tool. So to promote that would be nice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
think we're done.
Yeah, we are done. I will also check on that. Sounds also interesting. Cool. So, well, yeah, I didn't expect that, but it's okay. I mean, after a long time, we have to get started. Well, I want to thank everyone who was here. Maybe if they see the YouTube video later, thanks for everyone who participated. And yeah, if there is nothing else, like someone wants to talk about, then I would end the meeting for today. And then
thanks, guys. It was awesome.
Okay, cool. Thanks again. Then see you for the next meeting. Let's discuss on the Slack channel for next steps on that.
Sure, awesome. Looking forward.
Okay,
bye, guys.
Cool. Okay.
Just bye.
So, bye.
Bye, guys.